spoke to Amanda and Judy, and I was like, I don't understand this character. I don't understand Alex Christensen. She's really smart. She's a surgeon, but why is she so dumb with men? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And they were like, Claudia, people are flawed, and sometimes really smart people don't know their way in love. I was like, oh, right, cool, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm on.
Hi, and welcome to this very special season of McLaren Versus, celebrating 25 years of the iconic series The Secret Life of Us, a show that is somewhat close to my own heart. Now, over the next few episodes, we're going to be talking to some of the cast and the creators of the show to give you that access all areas chat you have come to expect. So sit back as we take you on a ride through the noughties and one of Australia's most loved TV series from the inside out. This is McLaren versus The Secret Life of Us. 25 years ago, a little show set in St Kilda changed Australian television forever. The Secret Life of Us wasn't just a drama, it was a mirror. It showed us friendship, love, heartbreak, and the beautiful chaos of being in your 20s. I was lucky enough to be a part of that journey, and today I'm catching up with three people who helped make it unforgettable. We're going to dive back into those days of bad haircuts, big dreams, and even bigger emotions to find out what The Secret Life of Us means 25 years later. And today I'm joined by Claudia Karvan, Samuel Johnson, and Deborah Mailman. Hello! This is so cool to be able to reconnect with everybody. I've run into you, Deb, a few times at award ceremonies and things like that in a lobby, foyer sort of thing. And Claudia, I was thinking back, I always seem to run into you at SPA, the Screen Producers Association, somewhere where it's kind of like, giving a session on, the landscape and television and funding and things. It's all very boring and dull. And Sam, we actually haven't run into each other that often. I think probably because you're more regional these days than not. But do you guys cross paths much or with any of the other team as well?
Well, Deb and I were directors on the Federal Board of Screen Australia for a while, so very adult, weren't we? You're still there, aren't you?
Still there, yes.
Right
But we
up.
were so seeing Claude for a number of years. Hey, Claude, you and I. But I think it's these little moments. Tammy, I guess, I remember you called me in regards to this. I picked up the phone. No, you texted me, right? And I straight back and I went, yes, I'm in.
Sam, well, we've seen Sam a bit at the charity events. You and I have been to a few of those.
Claudia has been very supportive of my little cancer kind of stuff. I think you flew yourself down to Melbourne a couple of times, if not for when I left on the unicycle, maybe the return. I think you've also contributed to our dear books, our books of letters that we sell to kick cancer in the Kiwis, and also when I was up in Sydney doing Dancing with the Stars.
Let's go back to the start, right? And let's go back and set the scene. Do each of you remember how you came to get the role, like whether your audition or whether it was a phone call in meetings with producers and agents and stuff?
Yeah. I'll go first. Can I go first? Yeah, I remember. So I'd been partying the whole night before. I didn't know my lines, and I wasn't wearing shoes. I think I was still a bit high. I think I'd had some pills that night. And I rocked up, and I didn't give AF. Like, it's just like, it was enough for me just to get there. And I read the whole thing off the page. I was completely unprofessional. I walked away and forgot about it, because that's the best attitude with auditions, because normally you don't hear back. And I did just a terrible job, and they thought, that's him. And then they told me that Claudia Karvan had signed, and I said, show me the dotted line, I'm in. And so as soon as I found out Claudia was attached, I was like, yes, please, yes.
Sam, I was the same. As soon as I knew Claude was on.
Yeah, really? Yeah.
Yes, please. I want that experience.
This is all your fault, Claudia Karvan.
Oh Oh my God. Well, my story is really funny then as well because um, my agent was Robin Gardner, and she had always said no TV, no, you'd never do TV. We were very, focused on film, and that was what you did in those days. TV wasn't something you ever looked at if you were, wanted to have a decent career.
Yeah.
And then she rang me and went, "Oh, there's this great TV show, and yes, I think you should sign up and you should be in it." I didn't sleep for 2 nights. So I was like, my agent thinks she's just selling me down the river. I'm a failure. I was just devastated. I was like, oh, she just has no faith in me. This sucks. And so I said yes, but then I didn't sleep for a couple of days, and then I was like, actually, no, I don't want to do this. I'm just signing up to a soap. And so then I had a conversation with John Edwards, and I had a conversation with Amanda Higgs and Judy McCrossan, and I said to John, look, I'll do this show, but I'm only going to do 4 episodes. I'm not signing on for the whole series. I'll only give you 4 episodes. And John is so smart. He just went, yeah, that's fine. That's fine, which is impossible. You can't do a series with one of the leads only on for 4 episodes. And so he just completely indulged me. And then I spoke to Amanda and Judy, and I was like, I don't understand this character. I don't understand Alex Christensen. She's really smart. She's a surgeon, but why is she so dumb with men? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And they were like, Claudia, people are flawed, and sometimes really smart people don't know their way in love. I was like, oh, right, cool, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm on.
I love it. I love it. It's oh my God, because you're right. At the time, like television was death to a film career. They were very, very separate, and everywhere globally, that was it. And now the whole thing has swung around very differently, and that was part of that transition period. And I know like my story. I actually originally there was a chap called Paul Layden was cast in the role of Richie, and then
Oh, really?
Paul got offered a 3-year contract on As the World Turns in New York, doing an American soap. And so he pulled out. And I hadn't auditioned for the show originally because I was doing Home and Away at the time, and it was a clash. And then things had slid and done. And then they went, "Oh, this role's available." And I went, "Oh." So I came in and auditioned, and Abby was there. And we just had a really great time. And it kind of got, it was Lynn Marie Danzy was the pilot director. And it was, I was basically 6 months out of dramas because I was still very, kind of serious. And, and she took me in the corner and whispered all these instructions to me. She took Abby over here, and I went, "Oh, this is very different. This is not Home and Away. This is great, And then we did that, and I was lucky enough to get in. But I do remember it was the DNA of, by the time, obviously, that offer came to me, obviously, Claudia, you were on board. Deb, you were on board. Abby was on board, star from Heartbreak High. Joel was, the up-and-coming new kid on the block. I was like going, yes, please. Yeah, sign me up immediately. It was just awesome. And Deb...
I do remember getting a phone call, and I think it was with John Edwards, having a chat. I was just happy because, I was broke. I was living in Sydney, and I was goddamn broke. I was trying to find any job possible. And then I was really happy to sort of, move to Melbourne, start a new life. I was still really green at that time, so I didn't know what I was doing with my life. So the thought that suddenly financially I was going to have a job for 6 months. Remember back then that was 22 episodes.
22 one-hour episodes, which is
but of course
crazy.
We did the pilot first. I remember doing the pilot.
Yep.
And then it sort of disappeared for a bit, didn't it?
It did, because we didn't shoot. We did the pilot, I'm going to say around January or something like that. And then we didn't hear until June what was going on. And then we started in November of that year we went across Christmas into the new year. And because of the timing with the network as well, if you remember, the entire first series was in the can before anything went to air. So we got to shoot all of season 1 without anybody knowing anything. And then, if you remember, we came back to shoot season 2, and it was chaos. There was like security guards and people, the St Kilda Festival trying to get through all that sort of stuff and shoot. It was like, ugh. It was just craziness. But yeah.
But I was thankful for something new, to move to a new city. I fell in love with Melbourne. And then obviously, knowing that Claudia was attached was an absolutely. I was still green to acting, and particularly acting in front of camera. Like, I had next
having
to no
just won
experience.
only the single AFI at that point in time for radio.
Yeah, but that got me nowhere. It got me doing some runs for $10 an hour, Marrickville.
Do you remember this, Deb? In Sydney, we went to a screening of the pilot, and you and I were sitting together, and our agent, because we both had the same agent, was Robin Gardner, was sitting in front of us. Do you remember this? They hired like a little theaterette, and we watched it. Were either of you guys there for that?
No.
Vaguely, Claude, vaguely.
So we watched it. It got to the end. Robin Gardner turned around and looked at you and went, "Oh, you're amazing, Deb. You're amazing." And she said nothing to me. And I was like, "Oh my God, I was the worst."
No, really?
Oh, no, I'm terrible. Oh, again, another 2 nights, no sleep.
Do you remember the sets were out at Crawford's, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's now a
Box
Bunnings.
Hill.
Box Hill, yes.
Box Hill.
Yeah, Box Hill. It's a Bunnings now. Good to know. If you go down the tool aisle on the left near the screws, you'll see the old apartments. They're just there. But I always remember it kind of it felt really real when you kind of walked into that set and they'd built all those sets, and they were these ridiculous St Kilda apartments, because I'd moved down to Melbourne as well trying to find one. I went, these apartments don't exist. They're 3 times bigger than anything I've ever seen, you know. But they were beautifully decorated by Adele Fleur and her team, production designer. If you remember Adele, they did a great job decorating and all that. And it really felt Melbourne. It felt St Kilda. And I guess I just want to ask that question, because you may recall as well, this was originally set in Bondi in the script. And I think the producers before it was cast and done moved it to Melbourne because Melbourne audiences gravitate towards Melbourne-made content, and Sydney was kind of agnostic, went whatever, don't care. So they made a decision to move it to Melbourne and set it in St Kilda instead of Bondi. And I think St Kilda became such a character in the show. And, you know, I wonder how you guys feel about that, you know. Any thoughts on how you felt it sort of shaped things?
As a Melburnian, St Kilda was absolutely a character in the show. People would visit the apartment we shot the exteriors for. People would visit that.
Yeah.
The St Kilda was totally a character that people really got into. And also the Sydney actors, I don't know who. I remember it was Joel. I don't know who was in the share house, but the Sydney actors came down and moved into a share house in St Kilda.
Joel and Abby. Yeah,
Joel and Abby.
Joel and Abby.
And Monty. And wasn't Monty there as well?
Yeah, I thought he was. Maybe for a period of time. Yeah.
And I'd been a paper boy in St Kilda. I used to deliver Lisa McCune's paper, and she was on Blue Heelers. And like every few Sundays, she'd invite me up for a crumpet. And so I had an existing
Hashtag me too.
What's that? What was that?
Hashtag me too.
The crumpet, eh? Between
just sounded a bit odd.
Yeah, right. I should make this clear, Claudia. I was like 21 and out of work, and Secret Life hadn't just happened; it was about to happen. So I was looking for any job that I could. So I wasn't actually an adult. And she was living with her partner at the time. I think it was Jeremy.
I was joking.
Over-explaining, Sam. Over-explaining.
Some people watching this won't know that.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit, if we can, about the show and that period and what we think its effect, or you know, if I could use this grand word, legacy, might be. But just again, to set the scene for that, this show of its time was a co-production with Channel 4 in the UK. It was shown in New Zealand, where apparently it was rated R, which I'm like, okay. It was in Ireland, Canada, Netherlands, France, Estonia, Norway, Serbia, Russia, Israel, South Africa, and the US on Hulu. As I said, it was 22 1 hours per season, 4 seasons of it. Most outstanding drama series, 3 years running at the Logies. Why do you think this show struck a chord with people?
Well, I think it's what you were saying just before, what we were all touching on, right? Like, you had so many medical and cop dramas at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and along comes a very character-driven show that really spoke to that group of who we were at that time, that early 20s, where you're really just trying to fit into life, figuring it out. And I don't think anyone else was doing it at the time. People just gravitated to it, and particularly people of our age just loved it because they related to it.
Yeah, I mean, I really hear, like, there's a lot of creators. There's Christopher Lee, John Edwards, Amanda Higgs, and Judy McCrossan. For
Mm-hmm.
me, when I watch the show now, because a lot of people in their 20s watched it through COVID and it became a talking point, so I revisited it and I was like, oh, I really heard Judy McCrossan's voice in a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the situations, and like, for instance, when Sibylla's character says, "Oh, do you have a tampon?" and she goes, "Oh, what? You use applicator tampons? Oh, you're too scared to touch yourself." That's pure Judy McCrossan. Like, she just doesn't have a filter, and that went on. That was in the first episode, I think. And, like, Deb's character sitting on the toilet doing a wee. You just didn't see that. TV was much more polite. People didn't talk about periods, and they didn't talk about those sorts of things. They didn't smoke joints. We were smoking joints. So all that was just brand new.
And I think there's, to use this phrase, that's kind of authenticity to it that helped people connect. I know that, one of the things I really loved about the process was that we would have those, that kind of weekly or per block kind of table read, and there was still an opportunity to be heard. And I know there was a big care factor from that creative team you just mentioned, Claudia, in regards to, what people, what the actors felt about their characters and the journey and the arcs and that kind of stuff. And I'm reminded of, and I can't think a specific example now, but I know Sibylla will have one when I talk to her, that there came a time where because we were all living this experience as well, and that you'd have conversations and Judy would overhear them and they'd end up in the script. And you'd be like, that's not appropriate.
I think it's
Did any of you feel at the time we were making the show that it was having the impact, I guess, or would have the lasting impact it's had? Because like we talked just before, it's all those areas it's been shown, but also, again, it was just on Netflix, I think 2 years ago. It was all on Netflix. Channel 7 still have it on 7 Plus. It's on Throwback TV right now. 9 had it for a while, full season. I'm just like, it's kind of crazy that, and that's all recently, and that's a bit crazy.
Look, at the time, I was really ignorant around. This is going to sound so stupid. Okay, so not having done the first television show, and then obviously coming into second season, and then suddenly people are recognizing you in the street, calling by your character name. It was the first time I actually understood the medium of television. I know that sounds silly, but it was the first time I saw, shit, we're in everyone's lounge room. It was so profound for me to just go, holy shit, I'm part of some big juggernaut here that I didn't realize I was getting into. And it took me a while to sort of understand that.
Yeah, because I'd been acting since I was 10. So I started Secret Life, I think, when I was 27. But I think I did the pilot when I was 27. And I've been acting since I was 10. So I'd done, like, High Tide, The Big Steal, Heartbreak Kid, and Dating the Enemy, Paperback Hero with Hugh Jackman. Like, I'd done, like, sort of big films, but most of the time no one ever recognized me in the street. Then Secret Life happened, and I was like, oh, okay. Oh, I'm actually now acting, and there is an audience. Like, I was sort of kidding myself, like, oh, there is some sort of audience for the stuff I've been doing. Nothing like Secret Life of Us.
Deb and Claudia described it really well, and I'm going to rip off both of them. Deb, Claudia, earlier you said it was a zeitgeist. It's the only time I ever walked into a zeitgeist. Like, it became a thing. It was a proper thing. And it changed my life irrevocably and for the better. I'm so glad it happened. It was a bit like, I suppose, being in the castle or or chopper or something like something that becomes a part of the cultural identity in this country. It was,
and I think Melbourne very much took it to heart, as this is ours sort of thing. And I think I was going to ask you about that, Claudia, like film famous versus television famous, that experience. And I guess for all of us who weren't already on the radar becoming famous, having that transitional period where, and Deb, you mentioned it, where suddenly people are looking at you. And I recall at the time, I think it was you, me, and Damien Demonimus were sitting around having a chat, just going, it's weird. It's weird because you're out and you just, it's that animal instinct in you when you're at a cafe or something. And there's a couple of you, and people are looking at, they're not saying it, they're just looking at you. And it's kind of like being in the zoo and just going, well, what's wrong with me? I don't understand. And then you go, oh, it's that. But there's some kind of fight or flight thing initially where you kind of go, what is this? And it's just strange to have that experience. And it sounds like, Claudia, you had it still similarly because it's different being in everyone's home every week for 6 months of a year versus they watch you for an hour and a half, every 2 to 3 years in the latest film, I guess. So
yeah, and then unfortunately you have to go to the Logies. But luckily one year I was so pregnant. I was like, oh, sorry, I can't go to the Logies because I'm really pregnant.
Oh, do you remember? I love this story. It was our first, I think probably our first Logies as a group together. This is, I think, before the first season even came out. So here we all were coming out, that the red carpet, the anticipation, everyone's like, ooh. And then we step out and everyone sort of looks at us like, who the fuck are these people?
yes.
And I remember that moment. It was almost like cameras were up and then they sort of just down.
Wait
like,
a minute, Deb. Do you remember who we walked in behind? Do you remember who was playing?
No. Who?
Beyonce, Destiny's Child was playing and we walked in behind Beyonce.
That's right.
What?
I will never forget that because I was like, that woman is tall and big and they performed in front of us. It was amazing.
Yes.
Don't you remember that?
I was just
that was the first Logies.
Figure out how to walk in heels, to be honest.
Well, that's why the cameras went down and it's like, well, we just had Beyonce go past with Destiny's Child. Who are these misfits?
And then remember we were right at the back of the room.
Yeah. And then the next year we were right up the front. And I felt very special because Kath and Kim did a segment and took the piss out of my character. And I was like, yes, I've made it. Kath and Kim know who I am, So that was quite funny. But the Logies, jeez. So let's talk about some silly stuff. Who would you say was the biggest troublemaker or prankster on set?
Oh, that's a really hard question
Really
to
hard.
answer. Oh, impossible. The one whose breath stunk of vodka at like 9 a.m.
Who would that be? Samuel? Is that you?
I think you already dobbed yourself in with your audition process, so I'm not telling anyone anything new.
Okay.
But magnificent to act opposite Sam. Like that was a gift for me and Deb. Obviously, Deb's extraordinary. But when I first met Sam, he walked into the room for the read through, and I was like, "Oh my God, sorry, Sam, if this is annoying to you." But I was like, "Oh my God, it's a young Ben Mendelsohn. This is crazy," and he was just electric to act opposite. Always, never knew what you were going to get. Always in the moment. Lots of energy, high stakes. Brave, fresh. It was just like such a gift to act opposite you, Sam. I loved it. Even if you did breath sometimes, not always, sometimes smelled of vodka or some alcohol, beer maybe, old beer or something.
Well, I'd get home after work and I'd be like, well, I'm not going to let Secret Life mean that I don't have a life. Like it's they're 12-hour days, and then you've got to learn your lines and. Like we worked really hard. We worked really hard, and I've still got that. I've still got that part of me. Whereas, like the more hours I work, the kind of the later I insist on staying up.
The harder you've got to party.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I should point out that you did have a lot of days off because they'd go to Joel's flat or they'd go to Sibylla's flat. Like, we did have quite a few days off.
I would
Yeah.
say on average it was like 3 days a week.
Totally. It was
Best
a
job
great
ever.
schedule.
Yeah, great schedule.
It was really good.
Do you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether Claudia remembers this, but I fell asleep one time during a close up that she was doing.
I don't remember that.
Uh,
Was I that riveting to act opposite?
I signed on the show because I fucking love you, and
then you fell asleep.
and it wasn't your performance was riveting. It always was, but clearly I'd been on the sauce the night before.
Hilarious. No, I don't even remember that. I always loved acting with you. Didn't matter what.
You.
And you, Deb, what a gift. What a household. The time where I was like, I always loved acting opposite you guys. And I was like, wow, I've really got to, think these scenes where I've got to bring it for these guys because they're amazing. But the ones where I was just like, I have nothing to bring. You just guys, you take it away because you're incredible. Were the scenes where we had to dance and they put on music. And you guys, Sam's an amazing dancer. Deb is an amazing dancer. Like, you just can isolate and you just totally get into it. And Sam, you just go wild. And I was just like, okay, at least Alex Christensen is sort of a bit uptight and anal, so I'm just going to look like the dickhead here. And that's fine. That's just my character. But I was so intimidated because you guys would just go for it.
That's right. We had that scene where Abby Tucker, I think it was Abby, did karaoke, and that they thought that it was a good idea that we'd all do a karaoke thing, and so then they wrote in the script that I had to sing "How's That" by fucking Darryl Braithwaite, the only male fucking singer in fucking Australia that can hit a fucking IC, and I can't sing, and I hate this song. And I had to fucking straddle the fucking microphone and do it all confident. And inside I was dying. And then after, and it was like, come on, Sam, you got this. And then after that, no one ever did a karaoke scene ever again.
What about when they discovered that I surfed in real life? I like surfing and I can actually get up on a surfboard. So they're like, oh, great. We'll just write in this whole surfing episode where Alex Christensen surfs. And I was like, Alex would never be able to surf. That's just stupid. So I just fell off the board every single time they filmed me. And they're like, were you purposely falling off the board? I was like, yeah, because my character would never be able to surf.
It's Judy putting things in she knows, see?
No, I bet you I reckon that was probably John Edwards. My favourite scene, one of my favourite scenes, Deb, was remember when I had M&Ms on my chest and then you grabbed my boob and you were like, oh, did I just grab your boob?
This. That's right.
I love that scene.
Keep going in for more? Did I just started to cop a feel?
That's so good. So natural.
I don't know whether you remember that, but but out of hours, I got wasted and we played spin the bottle and I passed you.
Passed who?
Spin the bottle.
That was at Ian Joel's house.
I passed Deb. Yeah.
And I remember my boyfriend at the time getting very, very uncomfortable with those Friday nights.
I mean, it was a harmless game of spin the bottle. We were having fun.
We were having fun.
Oh
That was yeah. So, Claudia, I'm sure you will remember, but you directed us all in an episode as well.
In two episodes, a block.
Yes.
Me.
Sorry, 2 episodes. I'll fix that in the edit. It's okay. How was that for you? I mean, it was fine for us. It was kind of like a bit of fun and great, but was that a big transition for you? Was that kind of something you'd always wanted to do at that stage, or?
Well, so, as we discussed earlier, I'd had, however many years experience before I came on to Secret Life of Us. And then because it's 22 episodes, we were breaking in brand new directors who'd never directed anything before. And I started getting a little bit impatient by about, second series. And I would bitch to Roger Hodgman.
Yeah.
He was one of one of our very established, excellent, wonderful directors. And I was like, oh, Roger, this is unbearable. We've got these nervous directors who are hiding behind the monitor and they're not giving us any direction. That's really frustrating. It's exasperating. And he said, well, why don't you direct? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then like about 2 weeks later, he's like, so have you done anything about that? Are you going to offer to direct? And I was like, oh shit, I really got to put my money where my mouth is. So he sort of goaded me into that. And then I asked John and Amanda, and I sort of assumed that they'd say no. And they were like, yeah, sure, you can direct a block. I was like, oh shit. And then I freaked out. And the thing I was the most fearful of was saying action. that that was literally the thing I had the most fear about. And it came to the first day and we blocked it out and we, worked out where we were going to put the cameras and stuff like that. And the first said, oh, I'm the one who says action. And I was like, oh,
Great.
the director says cut. The director doesn't say action. I'd never noticed that. And so from then on in, it was like easy street. It was a cruise.
The rest is easy. I've got this. Yeah.
I've got a question for Claudia. How much did doing that change your life? Because you ended up doing after that so much more than just acting itself. I'm wondering whether that was the start of you directing, producing, co-producing, like doing a lot of separate stuff to acting. Because I modeled myself off that. So I went and did another show with John Edwards, and I tried to upscale like you did. On Secret Life of Us. Did you find that was a pivotal point when it came to you working on stuff beyond acting?
Well, look, they were so generous to me. The writing team, it was a Tony McNamara script and a Christopher Lee script. But Amanda Higgs said, look, you come into the story room and you pitch some ideas for your episode. So it was the first time I'd walked into a story room, and it was like I'd been driving a car since I was 10, but I never got to look under the hood. And it was the first time I was like, oh, wow, this is where these scripts come from. And these are these people who write these words that I've been saying for years. So that was the game changer, was going into a story room. And then after I directed that, and one episode was really, really successful. The other episode was terrible, a disaster. Oh my God. That John Edwards then approached me and said, look, do you want to come up with a series and do you want to produce something with me? So, it just created opportunities.
And you have very much run with those, I mean, looking at the list of shows like that you went on to, from Love My Way and then right through Bump still happening now. There's so much. And, I hope you're very proud of all of those, because they're all just, it's so awesome to watch from the outside, seeing that evolution. And it's one of the other points I want to talk to both you and Deb about is how do you think television has changed? 25 years, right? We talked about it, viewing habits have changed, but women on screen in roles, like you've both been on the board, one of you still on screen in Australia, you mentioned that before. I feel like with leaps and bounds, still more to do as always, but like how do you feel about that? You two have championed that and dominated, to use Sam's word, which is awesome to have seen.
I've got an answer. Should I jump in?
Yeah.
Jump in.
Okay, so when all those gender matters statistics came out, I was bamboozled, and Deb, you may feel the same way, because I have always been employed by female directors. I've worked with female producers. So in my experience, I did not see the absence of women. And you may find the same thing, Deb, because you worked for Rachel Perkins, and it was all women in that Radiance movie. So I was shocked by those statistics, and I don't question them. And I think a lot of really good work has been done to address that imbalance. I actually think we're at a tipping point now where sometimes I'm watching shows and I'm going, that male character is underdeveloped and a bit weak, and we need to keep an eye on keeping male voices just as alive as female voices. And
I agree with that. Absolutely.
At one of our screen producers meetings, Claudia, I remember you said something at the time on gender matters and that kind of stuff, which would be some years ago now. And you said, well, no, we've got equality when there are as many inept women in roles as there are inept men, right? And I always kind of went, that's pretty much true because, you kind of go,
That's so
women have
true.
to fight like tooth and nail to get a look in, and men are just get handed stuff left, right, and and I love that phrase, and maybe we're reaching that moment.
I think it's coming back to me now. I think I actually said mediocre, not inept.
Okay, sure. Okay, so yes, better. But it's equal, to both
But
sides.
look, to be, and I have to credit who I quoted. I was quoting Julia Gillard. So Julia Gillard,
right.
when she was acting Prime Minister, she actually said that. She said, when we have as many mediocre female politicians in politics as male, then we have reached. And I just stole her quote.
I would like to just take a moment, if I may, with the three of you to do a quick recap on sort of what's happened since. So Deborah Mailman, if I may, ACTA Awards. Best Supporting Actress in a Drama, 2025 for Boy Swallows Universe. Best Supporting Actress in a Film, 2024 for The New Boy. Best Lead Actress in a Television Drama, 2019 for Alex in Total Control. Best Supporting Actress in Television Drama, 2018, Mystery Road. Best Lead Actress in a Feature Film, 2012, The Sapphires. Best Supporting Actress, 2010, Brand New Day. Best Supporting Actress in a TV Drama, Offspring. Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role, 98, for Radiance, which we touched on. That's just the actors, the Lokies. Best Lead Actress in Drama, 2024, Total Control. Most Popular Actress, 2019, for Bike Club and Mystery Road. Most Outstanding Actress, 2016, Redfern Now. Most Outstanding Actress, 2013, for Marbo. Most Outstanding Actress in Drama Series, 2004, Secret Life of Us. And 2002 for Secret Life of Us. Right? It's crazy.
That is what. Where do you put them
Make her
all?
feel fucking uncomfortable while you read out her list of credentials in the land of the tall poppy.
Where did you put all the awards? Where are they all?
Here we go. Where are they? Hey! There they are. I love it. Oh, good on you. Claudia Karvan.
On you, Deb. You deserve all of those. Oh
Claudia
my God,
Karvan.
well deserved.
So you've got AFI Actor Awards, Best Lead Actress 96 for GP, Best Lead Actress Television Drama 2007 for Frankie in Love My Way, Best Television Drama Series as a producer and co-producer 2005, 2006, 2007 for Love My Way, Best Lead Actress in Television Drama 2014, Time of Our Lives. Logie Awards, Most Outstanding Actress 2003 for Secret Life of Us, and in 2010, Most Outstanding Actress from the Logies for your performance in Saved. Where are all your awards, Claudia? What are you doing with those?
They're actually in the spare room on a shelf. When I think of all those awards, I don't know if you feel the same way, Deb. Is I just think of, what did I wear? Finding the freaking dress and finding the person to do your hair and makeup and your jewels and what shoes and what handbags. Like, oh God.
Hannah, it sends my anxiety through the roof.
Well, it's going to continue, I'm sure. And now, Samuel, if I may turn my attention to you for a moment, young squire. Gold Logie Award 2017, Most Popular Personality on Australian TV.
Yeah.
Winning.
Silver Logie Award for Best Actor for Molly. The ACTA Award for Best Lead Actor in Television Drama for Molly. AFI, because same as actors, as we know, but for the listeners, that's the same award. For Best Actor in Leading Role in Television Drama 2001 for Evan in Secret Life of Us. Dancing with the Stars winner 2019. But the one that I think eclipses them all is you have just crossed, I think, $20 million that you have raised with your charity, Love Your Sister. Is that correct?
21.5 million. So keep it's not much. We're a minnow, but I'm a proud minnow. Like a lot of the big mobs, the ones you've all heard of, they might pull in like 25, 30, 35 million a year. And we've done, over 21 million in 14 years.
Oh, good for you. All right, I'm just going to, if we were going to make a reunion special now, right? Where do you reckon everyone would be? I'll just preface that by saying, do you remember there was this idea that after, I think it was 2 seasons, we'd come back and it'd be Evan's funeral?
No, it was the end of series 3.
Series
It was-
3. And you'd
that's-
find
yeah.
out that he
Yeah.
was narrating from the grave sort of thing.
Yeah, we were coming together for his funeral, yeah.
So do you think if we could do a reunion now, 25 years later, do you think that might still fly? Like, where are they now? Should we pitch that to Channel 10 and say, let's get everyone back together?
I'd do it.
You
I mean,
have
as
to
long
have
as
me in it because I'd be dead for sure.
Well, no, you'd have lots of flashbacks. So, like,
Yeah, right.
you'd have a whole storyline that happened that year before you died, and you'd just be like you died in a plane crash or a shark ate you or something like that. So it wouldn't be like, you wouldn't have to do a long cancer storyline or anything like that, which might be a bit triggering for you. I think taken out by a shark or like ripped apart by a orangutan at the zoo or something.
So, okay, so we're all in for the reunion. That's good to know.
I'll be in it. Kelly would be. What would she be doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon she's a massive CEO of a wellness company.
Yeah, I'd go with that. She'd be grandmother at least 10 times over.
She's been busy.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
How many kids? How many
I
kids
think
does
she
Kelly
just had
have?
I reckon she had a shitload. By the
Really?
time, yeah.
With which guy or a few guys or?
Remember, well, in the 4th, I ran off into the sunset with Aaron Patterson's character. So,
Are you still with him? You reckon?
I reckon. Well, I don't know, maybe. But we had a shitload of kids.
I've had a fair bit of experience in the publishing industry. My sister's onto her 4th book. My dad published about 12. My mum was a published poet. Lovely sister has done 6 books. And my sister's girlfriend is the head of a major publishing house. So I know pretty much for a fact that it's pretty hard to make a living as an author in this country. If not impossible, your name might have to be Trent Dalton, and apart from that, that's about it. So I reckon I'd have become a real barista wanker.
Excellent. And you were saying that Alex cut the wrong boob off and had a breakdown, and so where'd she end up?
I think she would have recovered from that. She's probably on a hospital board. She's operating away, some specialist. Maybe she became a brain surgeon or something.
Excellent.
I don't think she had kids. I don't think Alex had kids.
Yeah.
I think Rex and her, I think the relationship didn't last. Rex and her.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Well, I think I went off to Nepal, if I recall, to go and chase Murray Bartlett. Good choice. I think, so I'm going to say.
And then Murray Bartlett did White Lotus. So
so maybe
you're living off the royalties.
Perfect. That's where I've ended up. And we're running a wellness retreat in Byron or somewhere. It'll be great.
Have you ever seen the animated film Hotel Transylvania?
No.
Years ago.
Adam Sandler,
Why?
Dracula. No, because I was thinking.
Carl?
No, Kelly. I'm like, what is Kelly? So there's a character in Hotel Transylvania. She's the wife of the werewolf, and she's always got kids attached to her. Like she's got hundreds of kids around her. And it's that image that came to me just then. It's like, that's Kelly. She walks in the door and she's got all these kids literally hanging off her and around her. And that would be me. So if you see that movie and you see that character, that's Kelly.
That's it for this episode of McLaren Versus. I'm Spencer McLaren, and thank you for spending some time with us. If you enjoyed this chat, then please don't forget to follow and leave us a review.